Hi guys, welcome to Star Girl. It's Emma. It's Sunday, May 22nd, and it's currently, wait, let me check. Oh my god, it's currently 90 degrees outside. Ew, it's like, why is it 90 degrees outside and I'm stuffed in here with my headphones on recording this sad little art project? It's like, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's the first, like, actually hot weekend of the year. I'm like, I can't believe it. It's just like, I don't know. Last year I had this tweet where I was like, oh, in the winter I'm a woman, in the summer I'm a girl. And yeah, that really gets to the bottom of it. It's just like, it's so fun to just be like, I just feel like when I'm too cold, I want to die. But when I'm too hot, I want to live. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, whatever, just bring it on. Like, anyways, I said it all. Sunday, May 22, 90 degrees in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, so buckle up, y'all, because today we are talking about Emily Ratajkowski. And just as a quick little sidebar, I did write an essay about Rata like maybe 6 months ago, and I forced a lot of you guys to read it. So thank you for those who did. But I promise this episode will not just be me regurgitating. I've been keeping up with the ideas. Oh, but first I do have a few items of housekeeping. One, I have some Addison updates. So just coming off of last week's like sentimental Addison episode, she's actually had a great posting week. Like she's on vacation somewhere, some like unnamed beach, and she's with some friends. Like all of the pictures she's posted are just like, you know, her in some like animal print bikini, like lying in the surf and like smiling in an outdoor shower. And like, I don't know, she just looks so happy and healthy and very just super free. I don't know, just even the emojis, it's like all rainbow or like mermaid or diamond or like, I don't know, just it's just like, just like really happy to see. So I know I got a little like big sisterly protective of her, but I should have just like trusted everything's fine. Like she just needed summer. Now she's just fine. Cause you know, like some girls look like better in winter and some look better in summer. So I think I was just like, I just needed to wait for the seasons to change. And now it's all fine. Oh, and I also forgot to say last week when I was like giving the rundown of my fave old Addison videos, one that you guys definitely need to go watch. It's from Halloween 2020 and it's her and Bryce, her former boyfriend, and they're dressed up as Harley Quinn and the Joker. If you just type into TikTok Addison Harley Quinn, you'll find it. And they're dancing to Glamorous and it's just like so cute. Like it's a perfect video. I don't know what else to say, but just go watch. It'll just bring a smile to your face. And yeah, I don't know. It popped back to my head recently. Oh, right. Because I was thinking like, this is honestly probably where Jack Harlow got the idea to sample Glamorous. Like, but anyways, yeah, this happens every time. I like forget to say one thing and I'm like, damn, do I pull out the microphone again and just record and just stuff it on the end? I feel like, no, but whatever. Just wanted to tie the bow on that. Oh, and then I also just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's like listening and everyone who's reached out to me with like feedback and encouragement. Just, yeah, so I don't know, just very, very sweet of you all. And I feel touched and motivated. Yeah, you guys can't see, but I'm drawing a heart in the air with my pointer fingers. Okay, all right. Gotta start. Okay, Rata babe. Where do I even start with you? I mean, I've thought about Emily Ratajkowski, aka Rata, so much in the past like year-ish because I wrote this essay about her, which I'll talk about. But yeah, like in general, okay, so overall, so Emily Ratajkowski is a model, an actress. She has like a swimwear line. She has a book out. She sold an NFT. She's just like average, multi-hyphenate celebrity chick, except she's like the hottest woman in the world. And I don't even say this as a matter of personal preference, but she just is. She actually is a freak of nature. Like, yeah, even though her body's like totally natural, she just has this cyborgian effect, right? Like she's just like, I mean, her lips look insane, her tits look insane, her ass looks insane, and the most insane is her stomach. And she's had a baby now and it's still just the most insane stomach. And she's only 5'7", and somehow like the stomach just is like looks so long. Anyways, so that's who she is. I guess just like super, super brief rundown, like kind of when she took off. Probably what put her on the map initially was when it was like 2013. She was in the music video to Blurred Lines, the Robin Thicke song, right? There's like since been lots of chatter, and that is literally the video that like launched 1,000 ships, whatever. But so yeah, she like appears like near naked. She's kind of like dancing around, doing all these kind of like awkward, sexy little things. Anyways, but I actually rewatched this video like a year ago, and she is actually so cute in it. Like, you guys should really rewatch it. It's like she actually is pretty awkward, but she's just like bouncing around, like holding a tiny goat, and like, I don't know, she looks kind of vacant, but like actually just like in a really good kind of playful way. Like, she actually looks like she's having fun, which is not something that you see from Emily Ratajkowski like very often, you know. So yeah, I don't know, she just does really have like a cute bouncy presence in it, so I think it's worth a rewatch. Like, so that really like just like put her on the map as like a really like an extraordinarily hot up and coming model. And then the other thing, I mean, this is kind of minor, but at least for me, it was like another like imprint of her in my brain before she like became the celebrity that she is today, which was when she was in Gone Girl, which I think came out in 2014. Yeah, in 2014. In that, she plays the like mistress to Ben Affleck's character, who is the husband of the main character in that. And that's like that was a good role for her at that time, just to kind of like formally malign her in the public's view. So Blurred Lines, Gone Girl, I feel like those were the two biggest kind of like mass market moments for her. And then she just like had a steady like modeling career. Like, but I don't know, I mean, yeah, just like images of Emily Ratajkowski are everywhere. Okay, yeah, we know this, I don't need to drag through the history. So yeah, she just is extremely, extremely hot. Like, there's no way to say anything more. And this is a good person for me to do coming off of Addison's episode last week, where like, I mean, they're both extremely hot in different ways, but like I think, you know, as Addison being a character that I'm just like felt immediately really drawn to and supportive of, and then like anytime anyone criticized her or tried to like intellectualize her or her beauty further and like kind of, you know, try to like break it down, and I would be like, okay, just shut up, it's just, she's hot, you know. And then to turn this to kind of like try to turn that framework onto my feelings about Emily Ratajkowski, which like I actually feel like at this point I'm kind of like softened, because she's like in a low swing in her personal PR right now, so I'm not like getting so much data that like is driving me nuts. But anyways, yeah, like I think I catch myself sometimes being like, what even is the vibe of her? And it's like, dude, no vibe, just she's hot, you know. So yeah, I think it's a good exercise for me to kind of to try to like analyze whatever's going on with her from a more objective place, when I don't have the kind of like built-in love and care for her that I do for other celebrities who are ruthlessly criticized, who I'm just like, okay, well, they're just like hot and awesome, STFU. Okay, it actually is so hot in my apartment. I had like a little fan next to me all morning, just like right there, but I can't have a fan with the mic, so it is extremely hot. But I think I'll take my slippers off, that might help. Okay. Yeah, and then I guess in the more recent past, she really has kind of asserted this additional like layer of her celebrity persona, which is basically just like hot girl intellectual. So there was a shift at, you know, or like a slow building move toward kind of, yeah, hot girl intellectualism over the past, I don't know, whatever, 5 to 8 years or something, right? Like, she was being more kind of like, you know, she like endorsed Bernie Sanders and whatever. I can't even like remember all of the even like quasi political stuff she was doing, but I just feel like her persona was like, she was making an effort to be like, I'm not just a pretty face, you know. So, which is obviously something that a lot of people do, but I do think that she wasn't really like easily grouped in with other kind of people in her industry who could have been natural peers, right? I'm just like, wait, who are even Emily Ratajkowski's friends? You know, like, she does kind of stand alone in that way. And I kind of just like didn't even really like care about her one way or another. Like, yeah, it wasn't like a super big fixation of mine until she wrote that essay in The Cut in September 2020 called Buying Myself Back. So in this essay, she's talking about the like many different ways she's been exploited throughout her modeling career, you know, a range of ways that photographers have profited off of her image, often without like her consent or knowledge. And kind of the apex of the story is she accuses this photographer, Jonathan Later, of like sexually assaulting her while she was on like an overnight shoot at his house or studio or something. And then he, like many years later, sold like a bunch of unpublished Polaroids from that night without her consent and like had a show. And the essay is kind of like framed around this question of whether or not, or to what extent, people, models, Emily Ratajkowski can actually own their own image. But I think that kind of like larger effect of this essay is to kind of like bring attention to the powerlessness that she has or feels like despite her beauty. So I guess like the biggest problem that I had with that essay was that it's kind of like collapsing this spectrum of like on one end actual violence and on the other end metaphorical violence into one, and kind of just like conflating the two. And I think that's like wrong. But then I think that the more like interesting, like complicated issue that the essay ends up bringing up, not so much like in the text itself, but like just kind of as a jumping off point for other ideas, is kind of this idea of like how we seek control over our own images and this obsession about figuring out how people see you, and whether or not you're trying to like manipulate that. Just like the like very universal feeling of needing to know like just how you're perceived, basically. And I think that like to make that more specific, like I do think that it's like reflective of a period in time where we're like, girls are like, I want to be like respected for my mind and fetishized for my body at once. And that's not that those are two incompatible ideas, but this kind of like, the way I frame it in the essay is this kind of like collapsing of the relationship between like the artist or the visionary and like the muse or the like vessel. And so, right, it's not like we're protesting being sexualized or fetishized. Like there is a huge desire, made very explicit to be both of these things, but it's kind of like now like on our terms. And I feel like that's just an interesting space, because it's kind of like, to a certain extent, it's like not even really possible to control or even know what you evoke for someone else, right? So there's kind of this obsession with like violation and then like reclaiming. And there is a particular obsession with feeling misrepresented. And I think that kind of gets on this kind of like slippery sliding scale to you not having the same opinion of me that I have of myself is somehow violating like my truth, or is in some way like hostile to my existence. And so I just think it's like, I don't know, it's funny, like sometimes when you see a caption in someone's like, I'm taking back my narrative, I'm like, was anyone even thinking about you? Anyways, so that was the essay. That's what really got me started like thinking about her. And and this piece, Buying Myself Back, was like New York Magazine's top read story of 2020. And it got a ton of support and then like a ton of hate as well. But like as a scholar of Emily Ratajkowski, I think it's safe to put this on the official timeline. And then this essay appeared in the book that she published this past fall. I think it came out like November 2021, and it's called My Body. Oh, wait, one thing about that. So I was like, I had gotten like an advance copy of the book from a publisher because I was like thinking about reviewing it, and it comes with this little like insert from the publisher that gives kind of like the summary and the like whatever, all the just like basic publishing information, and then like a list of like blurbs from famous people who are recommending the book. And then like that section header, the title of the book, My Body, was not italicized, so it just said advance praise for my body. And I just, it's like, can I get some advance praise for my body? Anyways, so this book, it's maybe there's like 12 essays or thing, and they're all kind of like all specific stories from throughout her life. And she's basically doing this kind of like, how do I reconcile all these kind of like seemingly incompatible themes or impulses? And a lot of them are like honestly really like honestly important themes, right? She's talking about like beauty, vanity, wanting to be seen as beautiful, wanting to be seen as smart, wanting to be skinnier, figuring out her relationship to the internet, figuring out who she can trust, like, what does empowerment look like? And then she does have a chapter on motherhood because she had a baby about a year ago. So she's talking about that both from the like physical and existential changes and realizations that she went through. So I don't know. It's like, these are all like, when I list them out, I'm like, think about these all the time, interested in all of them. But like, the book's not that the book isn't good because I don't know, just what she's able to mine is just like doesn't end up being interesting at all. So I read it because I had written this essay about her, and I was like, okay, gotta get closer to the source. And then we were kind of talking about these themes like in my book club, and then we were like, should we read it since like we're all interested in talking about these things? And it's like, no, we can just have a conversation, don't need to read the book. So yeah, kind of like not worth engaging with the text or arguments themselves, because it's just like, I don't know, just pretty simplistic, and like, yeah, it's not even like convincingly neurotic enough to be like, for her to seem like a really interesting character, you know? But the act of writing it and just like these themes in and of themselves are interesting to analyze, right? So I think like to kind of tie in what I was just explaining about that essay I had written about her and this kind of like overreach of like personal narration and control with something I was talking about last week with Addison is just kind of like, I don't know, I want to build on this idea of feminine excess. And when I was spending a lot of time like a year to 6 months ago thinking about Emily Ratajkowski, I kept being drawn to this idea of gluttony. It's like, it's giving bottomless pit. No, it's like so mean. But no, I do think that it is gluttonous to demand control over how people see you. I mean, first of all, I think it's like gluttonous to demand to be seen as an intellectual. Like, let other people decide. But yeah, I think whether you're trying to prove like your beauty or your intelligence or your whatever, all of this over narrating, over contextualizing, explaining why something is the way it is, how it's interacting with things, like, you know, like doing this like splice and dice to explain how you are interacting with all of these different cultural signifiers that make you blah, 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 you know, it's just like, and the way it's born out or interacting with systems of power or oppression or even just like canon, like it's exhausting, and it ultimately just detracts from the experience, right? Like I think like maybe we would have come to the conclusion that Emily Ratajkowski had some interesting things to say had she not been like announcing to us so loudly that she has something interesting to say. You know what I mean? Like in this essay that I wrote, I have this line where I say like, beauty that over announces itself belies its own self-evidence. And I think that this is true. And the word beauty can be subbed out for anything, like anything that's over announcing itself, over narrating it, demanding control of itself is like actually detracts from the point that's trying to be made, you know, like it actually does, it weakens the point. She's just like constantly trying to anticipate her own criticism in a way that ends up making her less likable, because she won't let you like project onto her, or at the very least she needs to be like in on the projection or control it in some way. And I feel like as a member of the public, like irritated by this in her. And then I simultaneously, like as a person, I totally understand, even though like this impulse to control how people see you is very understandable. Like, I don't know, I feel like I've struggled so much with this in my life, like just being so like nosy, honestly, just demanding to know how people perceive me, you know, just like dragging my boyfriends through the mud, like, what is my vibe, what do I evoke? And then they're like finally come up with something and I'm like, not that, pick something else, like, you know, just like really letting like self-consciousness gobble up, I don't know, that's just like not trusting the unknown, you know, like ultimately. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's terrible for a relationship and it's a terrible way to live your life. Like, so I don't know, I'm really trying to just like resist that urge to, you know, try to be in control of what I represent to people, or even to be obsessed with the idea that I'm representing something at all, you know? And yeah, and also just this like constantly requesting feedback so that you can like further edit yourself and edit the like public statement and whatever. I just feel like, back to the gluttony point that I was making, like it ultimately is just extremely indulgent, and it hits and it bites you in the ass too, because it like zaps the potential for there even to be a cool effect, whatever the effect is, you know? And so, because like sexiness is an abstraction, right? Or not even sexiness, but just like the way you feel about someone is abstract. And when there's this demand to like, you know, codify it in some way, no matter what it is, it does feel less than the ultimate effect. Point of all that, I feel like Emily Ratajkowski is a great example of something that it's a good lesson in that way, because if you look to her and say like, oh, this is really like irritating how much she's obsessed with contextualizing herself. And then one step further from that, see how obsession with context like undermines both her beauty and her intelligence. Like, I think that that's good to be like, oh, I don't want to be showing up like that, you know, like, right. So like, to go back to last week when I was talking about like this like lack of self-awareness that Addison had, I feel like Emily Ratajkowski is like on the other side of the spectrum towards self-awareness. She is intensely preoccupied with how she comes across. And I don't really feel like I have a hang up around like whether or not celebrities are like quote unquote authentic, but I do think that this level of self-awareness that Emrata has like just makes everything she does feel fake, and not fake in like distrustworthy way, but just like it just doesn't feel sensual, despite the fact that she's like the hottest person I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, I don't know. I was saying that about her body before, like she feels cyborgian, even though she says she hasn't gotten any plastic surgery. And I don't know, I get a lot of plastic surgeon TikToks breaking down the truth behind, and it seems like the word on the street is that her body is in fact natural. But yeah, there's just somehow she doesn't feel sensual. I don't know, like, yeah, it is weird. There's just, and I don't know if that's like her personality leaking into her body, or if that's just like, I'm not sure. Like, if she had a different vibe, if she hadn't written a book called My Body, maybe I could just focus on her body. It's like, sounds so psycho. Okay, but the most nutso-town thing to come out of My Body being published was this essay that Andrea Long Chu wrote in New York Times Magazine. So it's kind of like review, profile, personal essay. It's called The Emily Ratajkowski You'll Never See. It's like a very generous read of the book. I mean, and of Emily as a character, I guess. Or it's like a very generous read of the subtext of the book, and it kind of makes that subtext text. She says, throughout the book, Ratajkowski is hoping to set the record straight. She is neither victim nor stooge, neither cynical collaborator in the male agenda, as her critics have argued, nor some pop feminist empoweree, as she herself once supposed. Today, she's just a girl standing in front of 28 million Instagram followers, asking them to take her seriously. Okay, well, the last sentence, ignore. But, you know, like, Andrea Long Chu is trying to help Emily out and be like, okay, she is resisting all of these kind of like easy buckets, you know, like she, you know, there's some nuance to what she's trying to figure out about herself, whatever. But mostly just the setup of this piece is so weird, because so they basically like ALC and Emily like basically like make this plan that they're gonna like to kind of, I don't even know what to kind of like make material, these metaphors that Emily's grappling with about like image ownership and like self-perception and self-image and whatever. So they make this plan that they're going to take Polaroid pictures of each other and then burn them so no one else ever gets to see, but then at the end they do it, and then they decide like, actually, we're not going to burn them, we're just going to like trust each other to like never show anyone. So I don't know whose idea that all that framework was, but it was weird. But there's this really weird photo in the piece, which you don't even need to read the piece, but I do encourage you to look up this photo. It's like they're at like a diner or something, ostensibly where they did the interview, and they're sitting in a booth across from each other, and the photo's like over Emily Ratajkowski's shoulder, so you see just like one side of her face, and then it's on ALC, but I don't know why they included it. I've literally sent it to so many people and asked, why was this included? I don't even have a take. I just have the perennial why. Yeah, but anyways, I was honestly so anxious after this essay came out, because I was like bracing myself every day to wake up to like an Emrata x Andrea Long Chu parade photo shoot. And I was just like that is the day where I end it all. Like, I'm just like, I cannot see this. Like, when those three items of culture converge, it's just like, that's going to put me into overdrive. Anyways, I mean, it didn't happen. Okay, so I wanted to share some of my favorite Emrata moments, actually. The first is just when I saw her in real life. I was so excited. This was like, this was a long, maybe 2017 at Squirrel in LA. And yeah, I was sitting having coffee with a friend, and then I saw like this girl from the back, and she was wearing like a t-shirt, but that had like printing like it was a jersey, and it said Emrata on the back. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that Emrata had merch. I want some. And then turned around and it was her. And I was like, oh, it's like Emrata in Emrata merch. It's like, love to see. That's just a favorite moment because it actually happened to me. It wasn't just me looking for something. But then my favorite is in French Marie Claire in 2018, this interview that was kind of like jointly done with Thomas Chatterton Williams and his wife. Although I think that they're getting a divorce now. I don't know if I'm just making that up. Okay, I don't know. But I mean, the interview is really like stupid and makes all parties look really bad. But there's this one line where Thomas basically asks like, oh, like, you know, you must have like always been like gotten a lot of attention for your beauty or something. And then she was like, oh yeah, like I was popular. But like the funny thing is at my high school, I wasn't popular because I was beautiful. I was popular because I listened to Joy Division. So yeah, actually, yeah, I like found it on eBay and bought it for myself. So I do own, I don't read French, but like, I was like, I need to own this quote for the rest of my life. Thanks so much for listening. If you like what you heard and want to hear the rest of this episode and gain access to much more exclusive content, please subscribe to the Stargirl Patreon. It's patreon.com/stargirlpod. It's also linked in the description box below. Other ways to support the show include following and giving us a 5-star rating and leaving us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. This stuff goes a long way to helping me spread the good word. So thanks so much for listening and for your support, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.